What is up, guys? Welcome back to another episode, taking our freshly painted roof round the front just to, you know, empty the loo. Let's bring you up to speed on where we're currently at. We live in this here marina on a narrowboat, and we've recently tackled the rather daunting task of taking our roof back to bare metal and repainting it a fresh, brilliant white. And you betcha, we're still busy. Subscribe to the channel and follow along for our version of boat life. We thought these views of the local bird life would be way more interesting than dragging you along to the pump out station. Also more interesting than the pump out? Heading out to the river to turn this boat around. Off we go! Remembering this horrific spot from a week or so back. Never want to find myself grinding on the riverside there ever again. She looks in action now that she's all white.
It's good, it's good.
Not too shabby.
Good job, good job.
Paul's just saying we've still got to obviously do this, but we're going to wait to take this off when we can put the pram cover back on, and then we'll tackle this baby, which is likely to stay blue, and then touch up that and that and that
blue.
and that.
I thought it was going white.
You said blue.
No, I thought it was going white.
We can do white, but I think, well, let's discuss.
Because it's warm. This is what you put everything on. That's why I painted the roof white, so that it's cooler.
Okay, Captain. White it is.
White it is.
And then, but the accessories, the like things?
Those will stay blue.
Okay. Touch up. Blue touch up.
Blue touch up.
Cool. Welcome to the day where this could be very well the last top coat on the boat. This will be the third coat. Paul he's done the sanding for the day, he's just wiping it down before we get going with rolling on that paint. But it seems that this last coat hasn't stuck as well to the one underneath it. So there's some places where tiny sheets are coming off. So we're not sure if it's not drying properly. It is quite hot out, but you can feel the roof now, because it is white, is still quite cool. So this could be the last coat that we do, and not a bad thing. It's looking pretty slick. Prepping to paint, stirring up the paint, putting all the tinfoil in the tray, and feeling quite nervous because this is going to be our last coat, so the pressure's on to get it perfect. When you're painting outside like this, it's never gonna be perfect. There's always a midgie or a bug of some sort that will land in the wet paint while you're going over with the roller. It's very frustrating, but as you go, if you see any dust or whatever, you try and like obviously take it away. So this time we're armed with paper towels. We're going to wipe away as much as possible and just try our best to get it perfect. It's never going to be, but as close as possible is what we'd like to achieve. Coat 3 is done, and it was the worst coat we've done so far, just because it is way too stressful to put all the pressure on yourself that it might be the final coat, and every bug that falls into it, or every time the paint maybe dries before you've laid it off in time, is just felt intense. I'll wait and see how this one dries up. Paul's just touching up some of the edges there. But yes, we could very well be done with the first stage of the roof makeover. In other glorious news though, And in a welcome reward, our lovely neighbours, we've nicknamed them, well, they kind of nicknamed themselves, but we call them Mr. and Mrs. Bouquet, you know who you are, brought us some sweet treats. So no doubt we will be tucking into those with a nice cup of coffee, or in other words, watching paint dry.
Lost in the sight of you alone. Here I'll stay till dawn. The breeze in the sky sings me a song. Here I'll stay till dawn. Indiana rose, I couldn't see.
Another update from Paintland. We seem to have celebrated too soon. I've just degloved and we've been touching up some areas on the roof. We got very excited that that was our last coat, and yeah, perhaps popped that celebration cap too soon. We even did a little video just to say how happy we were and what a good mood we were in, and sent it to our patrons. And yeah, that was slightly premature. The roof's not looking too bad, but there are some sections that when we woke up the next morning hadn't dried properly, so almost had gotten like a little bit mottled, as if the paint there was maybe too thick. And yeah, Paul's a perfectionist, and while I think I could live with it, he is, yeah, still hard at work sorting it out. So we have just done another coat. Paul is busy finishing the edging and touching up on that, and then I'll update you and show you exactly what it looks like. Good afternoon. We are on a drive. If you follow along, or if you're new here, we need to replace the prop on Annabelle. So while the paint job has taken precedence over the last few weeks, the next thing that we're about to do is replace the prop, and while the boat is out, also black the boat. And we've been waiting with bated breath for this prop to arrive. We first purchased it at the Creek Boat Show, but there was an issue with the delivery, and so we've been phoning to try and keep up to date. And they phoned us. It is now 10 to 5 in the afternoon. We were just discussing what we're going to have for dinner, what should we have to drink, and the guy phoned and said it's arrived. So without a minute to waste, we are driving to Leeds.
Yep.
Yep, on the way to Leeds to pick up our prop.
Well, that's not a good start. Traffic.
How chuffed are you that it at least arrived?
Oh, I'm lucky. It's all, stoked it's all here.
Cutting it fine on time.
So, yep. But we'll get it all in. We'll get it all sorted out. So, yeah, watch this space.
Yeah, a couple of you have asked what's next. Well, this is what's coming next.
A significant light, just where it was needed.
We have arrived. We've just stopped outside waiting for the guy to come open for us. It's about 7 o'clock at night, so he's just coming to meet us to give us the prop. So we thought we'd hop out and have a look at the canal, because why not? When you're a boater near boats, you go have a look.
Cool, eh?
Yeah,
Oh, tower.
yeah. Looks like there's a little pub down there. Excited for your shiny new prop?
Oh, very excited.
Props in the back. Sun's going down. Dinner time in approximately 1 hour 30 minutes. Long drive home, but we got the goods, and that is one less worry ticked off the list. Good morning. Nothing like being midway through getting ready for the day and being called to hold a bowl to catch some dust. We are obviously prepping the roof to get back to normal today because the next stage of jobs is going to be on the go. So all the vents are going to go back on. We've just been pulling out the newspaper, and to prevent all the dust from falling, just holding a bowl up. So yes, a long little day ahead.
Morning everybody, just cleaning up the vents. I ran a tap through all the holes on the roof so you can put the new screws and stuff through. So just ran it to clear all the paint out of the holes, and then I'm going to put sealant around here, put these on, and we'll have the vents on. Then I've got to do the brackets for solar panels, and then put all the solar panels back on, and then that's it. Dunzos.
In terms of the final finish on the roof paint job, it came out pretty darn good. To pick up from the last bits that I told you, we were quite disappointed with the third coat that we thought was going to be our final coat. We let it cure overnight, but it was the one night that there wasn't going to be any rain, so we didn't put up the tarp over the roof. And we started to notice that maybe the tarp is what really helped the paint to cure properly. In the front of the boat, there ended up being a little bit of like where it hasn't dried properly. We just weren't super happy with that, and so we went in with the fourth coat, sanded that back, and went in again. We were a bit over it at that point and frustrated that that final coat hadn't gone 100% according to plan. It's definitely not seamless, but it's pretty darn close, and so we are really chuffed with how it finally came out. As with all these things, it's always a learning curve, and we definitely learned a lot while tackling this paint job. So we are glad that the bulk of it is done. As we mentioned before, there are loads of bits and pieces that we are going to be touching up and redoing. We've got to do the little hatch here in the front, but relieved that our roof is secure and hopefully safe from rust.
Okay. What did we learn? Are we never doing this again? I learned that.
Paul says we learned that we'll never do a paint job again. But I will say there were times during the paint job where we thought the white looked so nice that I did hear a mention, let's just go ahead and whack the whole boat white. Didn't you say that?
No comments.
Give it a year or so, maybe once we've recovered from this one, we'll be ready to tackle another. In case any of you are interested, I will just say that having the tarp, obviously we used it because we didn't want any rain coming into our open vents, but we could actually, you could sort of smell the paint curing. It helped keep the ceiling warm, or the roof warm, let's say. Maybe I'm not describing this 100% correctly. We found that the coats where we let it dry underneath the top, definitely the finish was better, and the dew and the water in the morning or whatever didn't really affect it as much. So a handy tip if any of you are thinking about painting your roofs and want to do a top, recommended. For us it worked really, really well. True sign that winter is officially on the way. We joined together with a few boaters and ordered the coal in bulk. This here was a ton. And the bonus is we get to chop up the pallet for firewood. While Paul is busy attacking the pallet, I am going to get busy in organising the boat. There is nothing worse than being in the middle of a huge job where everything else around the boat is messy, you're messy, the outside of the boat is messy, and then coming inside and things not being in their place. We're just coming out of a period like that. Things have been shifted around, outside things have been inside, everything's in its wrong place. So reorganization, get everything fully packed away, nothing on the floors, everything clear. It makes the mental side of things a lot more easier to handle when there's nothing around to frustrate you. Boat currently looks a bit like a tip. All the things on the go. Organising bits and bobs in small space living can be quite the conundrum. I end up saying I'm just going to do this storage area, and before I know it, all the cupboards are open, everything is being shifted around, but every so often it is necessary just to stay on top of things. Too early for a Christmas tree? Well, did we ever think this day would come? It is here, and thank goodness for that. Beautiful sunset as per usual. A perfect sky to celebrate our job being over. Clean up to do, more clean up to do. The remnants of the workload are still very much a reality, but we'll get there. We've got one day left before we move the boat and get it onto the dry dock. Join us next week as we reinstall our solar panels and gear up to meet you here at the boatyard, where things are gonna get serious. Thanks for watching.